Welcome to another edition of Kickback with Kelly and Barbara.
TGIF.
Wow, you are so ready for the weekend.
I know. Now that life has kind of resumed some sort of normalcy, I think I'm really looking forward to the weekends. The days don't blend in as much anymore.
I guess there's a bit more of a division between the actual work day and the weekdays, and being able to sort of like kick back and actually enjoy yourself on the weekend. That actually really helps. Hopefully you guys are in the peak of optimum health and you won't have to worry about visiting any doctors. But in case you do feel the need to visit a doctor, we've actually got you guys covered. That's right.
Literally, like covered, like insurance coverage, but like covered in that sense.
But we actually aren't providing you with insurance coverage.
No, we're not.
So please take whatever she's saying with a pinch of coverage.
We've got
Right. So let's talk a little bit about who we are bringing on today. I don't know about you, but in recent times, I have really struggled with making sure that I can get down to go and see a doctor.
Yeah.
I don't really want to be sitting in a clinic and waiting for an hour and a half to be seen, especially if it's for my daughter, because kids are really germy, man, and sitting in a pediatrician's office is really not the best place to be, especially with what's going on at the moment. So this is why I recently turned to telemedicine, which is not the newest of ideas, but of late it's really picked up. So we decided to bring someone on today to share a little bit more about telemedicine in general and how it is absolutely amazing. And we can share our experiences. We've been using it.
I officially tried it last week as well, and now I'm feeling much healthier.
So we thought we'd bring in the doctors to come and share a little bit more. So joining us on the show today, Professor Lim Hong Shen, Medical Director of a medical clinic, one of the HeartVoice telemedicine providers, and iAPPS Medical Innovation and Data Science Director. That is a very impressive title. Wow, that's a very long title.
We had to read it because it was super long.
Thanks for having me.
Professor Lim, thanks for joining us.
Of course.
And tell us a little bit more about yourself.
So I had my training as a medical doctor, but a big part of my specialization is in healthcare informatics. So I've been doing that since 4 or 5 years ago. Basically, before I came to iAPPS, I was actually with the ministry. So I was with iHIS, managing large systems. And the interesting story is that iAPPS actually approached me to be one of the telemedicine providers. And during that time, they sort of pitched that they wanted someone of expertise to come on board because they do see the value in providing such services. And at the time, the business was, or rather HeartVoice is pivoting towards introducing telemedicine on top of the remote patient monitoring module. Therefore, I was also very interested and very aligned with the direction that they were heading, and hence I'm on board now. So
Awesome.
So for those of you who've never tried it or don't know exactly what it is, telemedicine is essentially the ability for you to see a doctor virtually. So you don't actually have to go to a clinic.
Yeah.
You can be seen very quickly. I think each time that I've tried to get a doctor on the line, it's taken like 2 minutes, and it's virtual consultations over video call, right?
Right.
And I'm not going to lie. So I would say sometime last year, I got an email and I was offered the opportunity to give it a try and talk about my experience. And I said no. I was like, I really don't believe in, a virtually seeing a doctor. Like, I'm not comfortable with it because, if there's something wrong with me, I need them to be able to see me and see how much pain I'm in physically. So I really wasn't that comfortable with it. But last week I had gastritis and I really didn't want to go to a clinic.
Yeah.
So I have my first telemedicine experience, and I loved it. I thought it was great. Got my meds in like an hour.
Yeah, it actually is really good. So maybe, Prof, can you share with us what's the process like?
Right. So with all telemedicine services, what we try to achieve is actually to mimic a real life consultation that we have with a patient in person. And I think that is something that is very difficult to replicate, especially when it's sort of inculcated into our daily lives, as to even for physicians, not just for patients, right? When we are taught in medical school, we've always been taught that you need to put your hands on a patient, you need to touch the patient, because it follows a structured kind of consultation. You take a history, you examine the patient, then you come up with a diagnosis, then you proceed with investigations and so forth, so on and so forth. Therefore, there's always this hesitancy to start adopting new technologies, especially something like telemedicine, where a big part of your consultation is suddenly gone. So for a patient, what they do is they usually decide that they need to see a doctor. And then most of them will do a self-triage. Is it really necessary for me to go down in person, or can I see a doctor online? And when you see a doctor online, then you need to think about, oh, which provider do I choose from? So there are many providers out there offering the same services. Most of them will require you to download an app. From there, you request a teleconsultation service that matches you to a provider. The provider comes online, performs the consultation, do some form of identity verification, and then you move forward to prescribing medications and documentations for the patient. And it's really as simple as that.
And I can attest to the fact that it is really quite simple. Like when Sienna, my daughter, had an allergic reaction to something, she had a swollen eye, and then like
thought it was
everyone's
a mosquito
panicking,
bite at
freaking
first.
out. To be able to see a doctor within 2 minutes, to be able to get medicine dispensed so quickly and delivered right to your doorstep so that you don't have to worry about any of that, just really took a big weight off my mind. But just quickly before we go for a break, how do you know if someone's faking it or not?
You actually can't, you know. So even in an in-person consultation, sometimes it's up to your sixth sense, right? So you examine tons of patients every day, and you sort of have a tingling sensation as to whether a patient is faking it or not. Sometimes what I do is I interject questions that are completely out of the scope of the patient's complaints, and
If they
see
just
whether there's
say,
some
yes,
acknowledgement to it.
yes, I've got everything.
Yeah,
Everything is wrong. You're like,
yeah.
you're just trying to get an MC.
So you sort of like set traps for the patient without the patient knowing it, and then you sort of can tease out whether which complaints are more serious or not. But I think everyone has an internal thermostat, right? So if you feel that your condition is very serious, 90% of the time they are right? So they wouldn't necessarily choose teleconsultation as the first means of communications with a physician.
Yeah,
They will rather do an in-person. That's why the initial triaging is always done by yourself.
Absolutely fair. Okay, so we're going to explore a little bit more with you after the break. So stay with us here on Kickback with Kelly and Barbara. Off for a short break, but we will be right back to explore a little bit more about what you can do to monitor yourselves at home. Don't go away.
Welcome back to Kickback with Kelly and Barbara. We're talking all things telemedicine today. And we have with us Veann Tang, the Director of Product and Marketing at HeartVoice. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, nice to be here.
It's like a big family chat, isn't it? I really like it. So there are a huge variety of doctors and clinics on the HeartVoice
Yes.
app. But you're also part of Active SG. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes. So we were very happy to be collaborating with Active SG because we have a group of, we have a panel of doctors in HeartVoice. So in view of doing good, we actually collaborated together with Active SG for any consultation to be at $5 only, and all this money will actually go into our Courage Fund to help the people in need
Yeah.
Wow.
because of this pandemic.
And I think all you need to do is go on to your Active SG app and then you can access the
That's right.
teledoctor from there.
That's right.
Right.
So you can actually make a purchase with the Active SG app,
Yeah.
and then you can just redeem it on a HeartVoice.
Oh, wow.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's handy.
it is very handy. And I think it's nice to know that sort of ActiveSG has become this giant portal for a lot of places. If you're looking at the circle especially, there are so many different vendors and so many different things that you can actually have access to in one combined space, which is really, really nice. But as we can see, like, I think also Prof. Lim, people are a lot more open to these teleconsultations at the moment. You're seeing, obviously, people don't really want to go down to the clinics.
Yes.
Where do you see the future of GPs?
I think that the traditional construct of a consultation will still exist till millions of years later, hopefully. But telemedicine is a really good adjunct, right? So we have also started to realize that there are a lot of things that we thought that we need an in-person consult that now can be done as some form of a video consultation. Actually, like you alluded to earlier, teleconsultations has been around for maybe good 20 years. It's just because of the recent COVID situation, it has picked up a little bit of steam. Earlier, back in 2000s, even early 2001, we already have research coming out showing that telemedicine are making headways in terms of replacing a traditional in-person visit. It's not so prominent in Singapore because we are pretty spoiled, right? So you walk down your block and you can see
I
a
was
GP.
going to say, throw a stone, you hit a
Exactly.
clinic.
But if you go to somewhere just across the border, like in Malaysia, you have a scarcity of resource, you have clinics that don't open at night, and those things are actually things that will obstruct the patient in terms of getting care that they need.
Absolutely. I mean, Barbara and I were both born in the UK.
Right.
And we all know that the NHS is probably not the best system in the entire world. But it came to a point where if you were sick, you wouldn't be able to get a doctor's appointment for a week. You'd be self-medicating, you'd be doing whatever you can. But there are times and there are instances, especially when you have young children or if you have elderly in your family as well, where you want to get the assurance of a doctor to know that this isn't something that I need to be rushing down to go to a hospital for or actually need to see a physical doctor. And I think that really has come in handy, like you said, because of COVID. We don't want to be putting ourselves in an environment whereby we might be exposing ourselves to nasty pathogens. And I think there's now this whole new emergence of a flu strain from China that everyone's going, oh my goodness me, it's the next pandemic. And we're like, no, we're going to be living in a bubble. So where do you see HeartVoice's role in this whole thing in the future of telemedicine?
So basically, telemedicine will be the new norm. We see that because apart from telemedicine, getting someone to visit us only when they are sick, we actually want them to look after them when they are well. So it all boils down to our initial vision of bringing healthcare reachable and easier for them to actually be on part of this ecosystem together with us. And we actually basically started out with corporate wellness. So we engage a lot of corporates and their employees where we want to actually bring health tips, a lot of how do we make you better. And it's not like we want you to think of us only when you're sick. Think of us when you're well. It's like we are going to make you healthier. We're going to have health programs to help you achieve the ideal weight that you want. So that is actually our vision. So
That's
especially,
awesome.
yeah.
It's like when you go see a doctor, right? And you walk out the door after you've seen them, and you're like, yeah, okay, see you soon. It's like, actually, no.
I hope not, actually. So HeartVoice is very interesting in the sense that it's not just about telemedicine, but you guys also talk about like monitoring your health at work, monitoring your vitals at home.
Exactly.
So how does that work?
Exactly. So
I have a weighing scale. Does that help?
yes, definitely. So our partnership with Omron, we actually had a joint venture. So that's how HeartVoice was born anyway. So it's actually a collaboration between our technology company, iAPPS, and Omron Healthcare, who is a big giant in medical devices. So in a way, we actually put together our expertise to roll out HeartVoice, and that is where we actually bring with us, like even a physical kiosk to our clinics, to our corporates, to allow the employees to actually constantly monitor their health and know where they stand. So that is where we actually then introduce health programs to make them even better. So of course,
So what are we monitoring?
we are monitoring the health vitals, like your blood pressure, your body composition. So even down to like fat, mass, body mass, and everything else that we will actually track. And all these are integrated with our doctor dashboard that the doctors can real time, like Prof. Lim can actually see your health vitals right away after you've taken that measurement.
And I guess that really helps, especially if you're looking at people who are presenting signs of sort of like high cholesterol or like onset of heart disease and all that sort of thing. If you can see their track record of where their body fat's been lying at over the course of a few years, at least you know you can predict those trends and you can tell them to watch it, right?
Yep. So I guess the real important factor is that we always know that we are always better at home. And so your readings of blood pressure are always more accurate when you're at home. So many a times when you go to see a physician, naturally you get a bit anxious, right? Even for me, if I go and see a doctor, I get a bit anxious. My blood pressure goes up a little bit. If the receptionist pisses me off, I get a bit anxious also, right?
I wasn't sick now before,
Yeah.
I am now.
So when I sit on the doctor's chair, when I see the blood pressure machine, I get more anxious, right?
Cold sweat.
So then the doctor would be like, your pressure is a bit high. Let's put you on medications almost instantly, right? So that's not fair. What we want is a constant measurement at home.
Yep.
And we are seeing a proliferation of Internet of Things, right? So HeartVoice is really a platform that helps you integrate all these devices. And we are also looking at things like traditional Chinese medicine, right? Things that will scan your pulse, look at your tongue, do some analysis to facilitate this diagnostic process even for traditional medicine.
So I'm curious, right? Let's say, all right, so I still live at home with my parents, okay? And let's say I wanted to be able to monitor all of our health vitals at home. So what is the process like? Like, do I go and buy a machine? Like, I understand companies buying it to put it at the workplace so that they could monitor their employees' health and stuff like
Yes.
that. But how does the home setup work? Like,
Yeah,
am
so-
I going to
so-
be spending thousands of dollars on a new machine?
The beauty of this is when we have our software, we actually is tightly integrated with our like an Omron device, like Omron blood pressure monitor that you can get at home, so that you can do your home monitoring. So that is where, because we are able to actually integrate everything into our software, then once you take a measurement, you don't have to do anything else. Everything is recorded, and then your doctor can actually see your vitals.
And in terms of purchasing like the different devices for me to bring home and use, is all this available on the app, or do I have
Yes.
to go somewhere else?
No, everything is available on the app. So
it's like a
for
one-stop shop.
Yeah, one-stop shop. Integrated devices is available that you can just get, and at the same time, of course, we welcome all kind of devices, because basically from our objective is we want you to monitor your health. Therefore, we also allow you to manually input some of your health data if you are not using a connected device, so that it makes it accessible for everybody.
Fair enough. Now, so what you guys have kindly offered us and you guys, therefore,
Giveaway
is
time!
giveaway. That's right. You're actually going to have access to $20 off any services on HeartVoice, or you can use that $20 to offset any products, any of the Omron products that you choose to buy off the HeartVoice app. All you have to do is comment below on the feed, let us know your name, say, me, I want it, and we will get in touch with you with that promo code. We're also going to be releasing it a little bit later on as well. So thank you so much for that. That's $20 off. That's huge savings for someone, especially if you're going to be seeing a teleconsultation. But just a quick check, average teleconsultation, how expensive is it?
So the good thing about teleconsultations is that it's mostly very limited to a few conditions that we do see. So we can expect the varying sort of consultation prices to be about $20 to $30, excluding medications and delivery, of course. Yeah. So I think if you think about a traditional in-person visit to a doctor, I think you can gauge it to about that range as well.
Okay.
Yep.
And as someone who has a young child at home and also has elderly grandparents or even my parents who may not be as technologically savvy, or in the case of my 3-year-old, doesn't have a device.
Or grandma who doesn't have a smartphone.
Yeah. How does that work in terms of getting care for our elderly parents, grandparents, or our young children?
Right. So I guess for the elderly generation, the first thing is to convince them that it works, right? So then the second part comes in the difficulty of
There's
technology.
TCM on it, it works.
Yeah. So the technology part, at HeartVoice, we try to reinvent the user experience, but we also don't want to reinvent some of the norms that we are already used to. So in the next phase, we are actually launching a family module where a parent like yourself can add your kids to your account, make appointments on their behalf, and make payments on their behalf, right? So if you have a kid, a teenager, right, don't really want mom to be around for most of the things, you can even give access by having an OTP, then you can give to your kid and the kid can enter. So the doctor knows that you have given consent for the kid to perform the consultation.
That is super smart.
Wow.
I really, really like where you're going with this. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing with us a little bit more about HeartVoice and telemedicine and the future of consultations. I think if you are someone like me who is a little bit paranoid, or Barbara's paranoid. Barbara's
I
very
wasn't
paranoid.
a germaphobe before, but now I'm just like, I don't want to step into a clinic. Nah.
So if you would like to, then you can always head on over and download the HeartVoice app, and you can get those consults. If you want to, you can also get the $5 consultations via the Active SG portal as well. So much to learn and so much to explore on the site. So head on over, download it, and if you want that $20 discount, you know what you need to do. Just comment below, let us know your name, and say, me, I'm in, and we'll sort you out. We're going to go for a short break, but when we return, Barbara and I are going to get sweaty with you. Barbara is going to be putting us through our paces today.
It's all about the booty game today.
Nice. All righty, make sure you don't go anywhere. This is Kickback with Kelly and Barbara.
Step right up, draw the next card. You're one of the pack, we're animals, so get along with everybody else. Is the ship sinking? I've been thinking. Are we sinking? I've been thinking. Been a little time to get along. Wake up call, throw the next up. Be one of a kind, original. Don't be another sign of the times. Fight. Wanna know the secret we get on? Wanna know the secret we get on? Try to find the feeling we belong. It's all for one and all for fun.
Welcome back to Kickback with Kelly and Barbara. It's that time of day where we get a sweat in. Today is all about the booty burn, so we're going to bring you through a little bit of isolation work, actually.
Oh, I always
So-
like a good booty workout.
Activation. So while you may not break out the biggest sweat, you will feel the muscles working. I promise. All right, so we're going to start off nice and easy. After each exercise, I'll prompt you on the next one, but they're all going to be quite straightforward things you probably would have done before. So if you're sitting down, just hop on over and join in.
Yeah.
All right, are we good to go?
Yeah, we are.
First one we're going to do, nice and simple. It's just a pulse squat, and then when you come up, so you go onto your tippy toes.
Tippy toes.
Okay, in 3, 2, 1, let's go. So down, 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 and
Tippy toe.
Down, 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 and
Tippy toe.
tiptoe. Good. You want to make sure that every time you do that pulse, you squeeze and activate those muscles a little bit. Make sure when you're going down into your squat, your knees aren't bending too far forward. Keep that chest up, nice and straight, and squeeze the glutes again as you come up to ensure that you've got that nice amount of activation and you don't end up like toppling forward. And smile, do like Kelly. Welcome to Do Like This. And 3, 2, 1, and break. Very good. All right. The next one is going to be a single leg glute bridge.
Ew, swanky.
So you want to get down onto the floor. You want to draw the number 4. We're going to do just one side. So take your left leg,
Oh, okay.
drape it over the right. All right. So the other foot is nice and close to your bum. And then you're just going to squeeze up into that glute bridge. At the same time, it's almost like a little bit of a hip opener
Yep.
on the opposing side. So you can just hold it and make sure you squeeze it when you go into that glute bridge. So there's a serious amount of activation on your bum. Very good. We've got 20 seconds left. Whew.
This is a nice burn, especially in that glute
Yes.
when you fatigued it from the previous exercise as well.
Exactly. And the good thing about doing single legs is that sometimes when you do a normal glute bridge, you tend to overcompensate on one side, your stronger side.
Yep.
So at least this way, we're really working on the isolation and time. Good. So we're going to switch it over to the other side.
One of the other things I really like doing in this position is instead of having your foot flat on the floor, actually putting your heel down instead.
Oh.
It forces you to drive up just that little bit more and gets a little more isolation in the glute. Try it.
Okay, we'll go in 3. Trust you to make it all harder. And let's go. Ooh, ow, okay.
It does, right? Like it's
Yeah.
a simple tweak, but it is also the action of pulling in your foot towards your bum. So you're activating your hamstrings just a little bit more,
Yeah.
which works the insertion point at which the hamstring goes into your bum. So you're working more muscles at one shot.
I've stopped talking now.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to concentrate because you also tend to work a bit on balance for this one as well.
Especially now that you're on your heel.
Yeah, and I'm on my weaker side.
It's like all these powers combined. Now, the great thing about these short workouts that we do on every single episode is that you can multiply this several times. You can combine them in any way that you see fit to make sure that you
And
are
time. Oh, I
working
did
up
one
a great
extra one
sweat.
there. All right, we're gonna roll over onto our front instead, get into a nice tabletop. So we're gonna do donkey kicks
Okay.
with a little pulse. So keeping that spine nice and neutral, you're gonna go up, pulse, pulse, and down, and then you do the other leg as well.
Okay.
All right, let's go. And up, 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 and down. Very good. Up, 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 and down. So you want to be able to get it, again, almost parallel to the ground, squeezing that bum. And we want to try to avoid overarching your back. So you don't want to end up like doing a crazy
cat-cow.
a cat and cow while you get it on.
Now-
Right, you just want that nice neutral back, pushing through
The heel.
the hand. Oh, well, I was going to say your hands.
Yeah, that too.
So you've got nice long spine. Got 5 more seconds. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Last one. Squeeze, squeeze, and squeeze.
a really nice
Okay.
booty pop.
Very good. We've got one more exercise left to go. We're going to be going into curtsy lunges.
Nice.
So getting our feminine side out.
I
Nice
love how
and easy.
she's gradually getting more breathless as she's going along.
As we go into each curtsy lunge, you just want to cross it over, go down a little bit. You're going to feel it on the outside of your glutes. All right? We go that way
Nice.
first.
Okay, we're gonna
In
we're gonna
3.
synchronize this for you so it doesn't look too messy.
In 3, 2, 1, let's go. And lunge and come back up. Lunge and come back up. You feel that nice stretch on the outside.
And I guess it's also nice to see that whatever we're doing, we're not using any weights. We're using the space that we have here around us, which means that you don't really need to be doing this in some fancy gym. You can do this in your bedroom, you can do this in your living room, you could do this in your corridor even.
Whew. And a good note, especially for these, when you do your lunges, whether it's normal or whether they're curtsy lunges, you want to try and push through your heel, try and avoid putting too much weight on your toes. So that really gets your glutes engaged. Last one, and we're done.
Nice,
Yeah.
good job. Boop. Yeah, can't really high five yet. Alrighty, so there you go. A really nice workout to get you all sweaty in tune for the weekend.
That's right. So you're gonna have a nice break over Saturday and Sunday, and it's all about the love on Monday.
That's right. I know nothing about dating in this day and age, but Barbara
I,
is clearly
however,
an
know
expert.
exactly how hard it is. So we're going to be bringing on a familiar face. Cheryl Tay will be coming on and joining us in the studio. And we've also, instead of bringing on a female love expert, we've decided to swing the other way.
Right.
We've got Singapore's male dating coach coming in, Marcus Neo. So that's going to be really interesting.
I think that's going to provide a really different insight. So you guys can go and enjoy your weekend with your friends, hopefully. But remember, no more than 5 people when you gather. And on Monday, when we see you on Kickback with Kelly and Barbara, we'll talk to you all about that love. I hope you're all ready for it. But from Barbara and I, we
Lots
are...
of love.
Lots of love.
Lots of love from us.
Lots
See
of
you.
love. But yes, we will see you on Monday. So
8
make sure you
PM.
join us for a little bit of dose of the Latimer Sisters on Monday, 8 p.m. on Kickback with Kelly and Barbara. Bye-bye.
Lots of love.